Hello, my divers, and welcome back to another episode of Diving Deep with me, Des. Today I'm joined by 23-year-old Melrose Park born, Chicago native, and UIC alum. You may know him as DJ Midnight, Rene Sarabia Jr. Today we're going to be diving into all things Rene and his journey on becoming the Prince of River North. So sit back, grab a snack, or maybe two, and get ready to dive. So welcome, Rene. I want to say thank you for taking the risk of being my first guest. I know it's not always easy being on a podcast. So thanks for coming here, spending your time with us, and yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about everything. I'm ready to get it going.
Yeah. So before we dive into who DJ Midnight is, we have to dive into who Rene is. So Rene, tell me, what were you like as a child? How would people in your life describe you as a kid?
As a kid, I was only child, so I would say I was just around my family all the time because I didn't have any siblings or anything like that.
Did you have any cousins even?
Oh, I had so many cousins on both sides of family.
Do you see your cousins as siblings almost?
Not exactly, but there are some that I am closer with.
Okay.
Yeah, but other than that, as a kid, I really liked movies. I really enjoyed sports. I always excelled in academics. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty much what I was like as a kid.
What sports were you in?
I used to play baseball, play a little bit of football, but just baseball has always been my favorite, and that transferred over into my adult life. I love going to Cubs games.
Okay.
And just baseball in general, yeah.
Was it junior leagues? What do they call that? Like Pop Warner and stuff?
No, Pop Warner is football, actually.
Oh.
But, yeah. So it's like Little League, I guess you would call it?
Yeah, right?
Little League, and then transferred into high school, and then around high school is when I kind of stopped playing.
What were your favorite subjects growing up?
My favorite subjects? Mm-hmm. Honestly, I don't really have a favorite subject, but, I mean, if I had to choose, it'd probably be mathematics.
Same. Yeah. I was always a good math person. Mm-hmm. Okay, growing up, who did you want to be when you were older?
Yeah,
what did you want to be?
So I did think about this question a little bit before the interview, and I thought about it. And I can't really say there's an exact, person that I wanted to be like, but I was surrounded by a lot of people that I didn't want to be like.
Yeah.
So I kind of molded those behaviors I saw from other people, all the negative things I saw, and I just told myself that, I couldn't be that way, or I just didn't really want to be that way. Mm-hmm. But it kind of came down to my grandfather. I would say he's probably the closest thing.
Okay.
On my dad's side. He's an immigrant. He probably has like a third grade education. He's grinded his entire life, and because of him and his sacrifices, I'm able to be where I'm at today. And so best role model I would say would have to be my grandfather.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like you have to be successful as a way to give back to him because he made that sacrifice?
Oh yeah, all the time. Not only just my grandparents, but my mother, my father, just everybody. I feel like there's some sort of pressure for me to be successful. Yeah. And that's kind of what makes me a little hungrier when it comes to everything that I do. I've always been an ambitious person, but yeah, that pressure is what makes me rise to any occasion that
for sure.
that presents itself.
Yeah. Okay. We're on a roll. I like it. Okay, so you're a junior. Tell me about your relationship with your parents.
Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to go too far into depth, but I'll give you somewhat of the surface level thing because, that is very personal. Yeah. As a young child, my family did separate, obviously my mom and dad. Mm-hmm. And they sort of had custody battles over me. I mean, at the time as a kid, that sucked, going from house to house and being the only child. Right. I felt sort of torn between both homes. Mm-hmm. But as I grew older, I kind of gave me a sort of independence and being able to make my own choices and just relying on my own decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as a kid, it was tough, and I know now I can't do anything about that. Mm-hmm. I still love them both very much, and they support me in everything that I do. So yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Did you ever have any friends that were almost going through the same thing, or did you feel like you were alone in a way?
Mm-hmm. No, honestly, I think the traditional family is, mother, father, and a couple of siblings. So I didn't really relate to that many people. And honestly, I don't know that many people that are only children. Only child is the correct way to say it. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know too many people like that. A lot of my close family members, they're extended family, 6, 4, a lot of kids, if you ask me. Yeah. And it's pretty much just been me this entire time. And now that I'm 23, my parents still haven't had any kids. And honestly, I kind of like it that way, and I hope it stays that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm an only child, too. And I think I replace not having siblings through my friends. Mm-hmm. So, I care about my friends very deeply. Do you ever think that you carry your friends or like other people around you in that sort of way to, as like a stand-in for not growing up with siblings?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I wouldn't say that I have that big of a social circle, that's for sure. Probably have like 2 or 3 friends, and they sort of reflect who I am, and I hold them up to a certain standard because I want to be great, and I expect them to be great as well.
Yeah, and it's like you are the people you surround yourself with.
Right, yeah.
So I can't just have you looking crazy, making me look crazy.
No, going off that, there's this one thing that I've kind of adopted throughout my college years is if you hang around 4 bums, you're gonna be the 5th bum. So like I don't want to be a bum.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, so I surround myself with people that are gonna help me move forward and just be a better person overall.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's how I feel too. Okay, so we just dove a little into your childhood. Now tell me about your teenage years. Where'd you go to high school? What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, so I went to East Lebanon High School right here in Franklin Park. I've always kind of grown up in the area. As a child, I did move around a little bit. For some time, I lived with my mother in Elk Grove Village, and then I lived with my father in Franklin Park, and then I lived in Merrill's Park and just a bunch of different spots, But yeah, like my life has always sort of been centered where my grandparents were, which is right here in Franklin Park.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went to East Leiden.
What was that experience like for you? Like, how did you enjoy your high school life, or what are some things you want to change? You would have liked to change about it?
Yeah, I mean, I can't change anything about it now.
Yeah.
I can't say I would change anything about it at all, to be honest. It just happened the way it was supposed to.
Yeah.
I was a pretty quiet kid. I always focused on academics. I graduated in the top 15% of my class. Like I said, I've always been academics. I've always focused on that, and that's always been implemented to pretty much every area of my life. Just intense focus on just excelling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I played baseball. What else did I do? I was in a leadership team.
Okay.
What else did I do?
Did you do like any clubs or stuff?
I don't even remember, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I don't remember any clubs I did. No. Okay. But yeah, like I took all types of subjects. I was really trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and throughout my 4 years, I was never really all that popular or anything like that. Just kind of jumping around from group to group, and I wouldn't
just finding yourself.
Just finding myself. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever? Because I went to the same high school, obviously.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that I talked to that went to our high school say that they don't feel that they prepped us correctly to transition to college. Do you feel that way? Like, do you think you were prepared to go into college or not really? Not
exactly. I think it would be best for whole curriculum change for the future. Yeah, there's a lot of moments in college where I was like, damn, why couldn't I have learned this in high school? Or pretty much any time before that.
Yeah.
So yeah, when it came to college, there was a difficult transition. It was pretty tough.
Yeah, I believe it. Are there any teachers or classes or memories that you always like think back to when it comes to high school? Yeah, there is one that pops in my mind. Coach Tim Stark, or Mr. Tim Stark. He's the athletic PE coach, and I remember like I think it was my sophomore junior year. I really wanted to feel like a challenge, and all the other PE courses were sort of just like lollygagging, like they would do random stuff every day. They played dodgeball, but I really wanted to excel. Like I said earlier, like I always had something inside of me that wanted to excel, and within that course or class, whatever you want to call it. It was a rigorous, plan every day. Yeah, it takes a lot of discipline.
Yeah, so like Monday it'd be like weightlifting, and then Tuesday it'd be like plyometrics, and then like cardio. And the coolest thing about it is that like every 2 weeks we would have a free day, and like as a class we would decide like what activity we want to do. It could pretty much be like anything. And the funniest thing about it is we used to wear these bands, like heart monitor bands, like. Your grade would basically be based on
your heart rate, right?
Your heart rate, yeah. So at times it was difficult because at the time I was like probably 130, 140 pounds. I was like really, really lean and skinny. So my heart rate was pretty hard to get up. And the higher you get it, that's the better your grade is.
Interesting. Yeah. That's kind of weird. Not weird, but like, because like you said, everyone's body at that age is like constantly fluctuating.
Yeah, we're still kind of evolving and growing in general. Yeah, but... Yeah, that class taught me a lot of great things. I'm grateful for those experiences. Some other teachers I can think of is like Mr. Alex Jamarin. I don't know if you know
Oh
him.
my gosh, yeah, he's like sailing across the world.
Right, yeah.
He retired the year after I took his class, and he was like with his girlfriend, and they were literally like, he sold all his stuff, got a van, and got a boat.
Right.
And so, yeah, the last thing I heard of him, he's like, Christopher Columbus sailing the world.
Basically. Yeah, my freshman year, I had him as like my ex's mentor.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was sort of like a freshman intro type thing. And he was sort of fond of me already because he knew my father.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he knew senior, and he saw me as, like his little, offspring, whatever you want to call it.
The mini me.
So he treated me a little differently, and he helped me out like with very professional things, how to write emails, how to conduct myself around others. Yeah, he was a great man too. And I remember he was telling me about that plan that he was gonna ditch everything and just go on his little van and all around the world, and that's pretty cool. Yeah, I hope he's doing well too.
Yeah, me too. I haven't like heard of him, but I hope he's like living his best life. So you work out a lot, right? Do you think that taking that class with Mr. Stark made it easier to have that discipline in yourself? Because you go to the gym like every day, right?
Not every day. I say like 4 to 5 times a week.
But that's still a lot. That's still pretty consistent.
That's the majority of my week, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that taking that gym class with Mr. Stark helped you have the interest in working out, but also the discipline and structure for yourself?
Yeah, I did remember shortly after I graduated, I committed to the gym for some time, but I didn't exactly have that discipline I have now. I think that's something that you just gain with age.
Yeah.
But I sort of had like the seeds planted inside of me of like how I could do it, And now it's been a whole plan in general. Like I said, I go 4 to 5 times a week, and that just sort of evolved into many other habits that kind of evolved me as a person and improved me in so many different ways. But yeah, I mean, I think the actions that one has in their childhood or like their high school years greatly transfer into their adult years.
Absolutely,
yeah. I think anybody would agree with that, to be honest. And yeah, I mean, that's definitely had an influence.
Yeah. So in high school, did you ever have an interest with music? Like, where did your desire to become a DJ come from?
Yeah, no, I did start in high school, actually. It was like my sophomore, junior year. Like I said earlier, I was playing baseball, and it wasn't really the vision I had for myself. It was more of like what my father wanted for me. So I fell out of love with that, and I was always told that, if you're not going to do one thing, you got to do another. And as a kid, I played baseball, and that was kind of the only thing I really had going for myself. So after that, I got into the music. I started going to a lot of concerts, and eventually I bought my own equipment, and that's sort of where it started. It's funny, I was talking to my mom about it, that like I'm getting interviewed, and I've had multiple instances where people want to get to know like who I am and my DJ life and all that, and I literally just started in like the garage.
Wow.
Yeah, I started in the garage, and I was just playing around, and I was like, when I first started, I didn't really have a vision about it, like, oh, I want to play here, I want to play there, I want to do this, or I want to do that, I just started because I love music, and it just sort of grew from that.
Yeah. Who are some DJs or artists that you draw inspiration from?
Yeah, no, my favorite artist is Headhunters. I'm wearing his jacket right now. I recently went on a across the world trip to Europe to go see his last concert.
Yeah.
He's the biggest inspiration music-wise. If we're talking about electronic music, Tiesto, Martin Garrix. If we're talking about hip-hop or rap, it's more like Travis Scott, Destroy Lonely. And then on my Latin side, I love reggaeton and just Spanish music in general. I would have to say like Chris MJ, Bad Bunny. I mean, who doesn't love Bad Bunny nowadays? Right. Yeah, Ozuna, Jay Cortez.
Yeah.
So many great artists out there. But yeah, I mean, it's similar to my taste of when I DJ as well. I play a little bit of electronic music, I play a little reggaeton, Latin, and I play hip hop. So yeah, but those are my biggest. But my number one will always be Headhunters. Nothing will ever change about that. Yeah.
So you went to UIC and you graduated in 2022, right?
Correct.
What was your major? What did you graduate with?
Yeah, I was a double major in criminal law and justice and psychology.
Okay. Tell me about your experience at UIC.
Yeah, at the University of Illinois, Chicago, prior to committing to the university itself, I went on a visit there, and it was the first college visit ever. I remember my high school was sort of sponsoring these trips for the first time ever. And I was like, okay, I'm going to just go do it. Why not? And I was always implemented as a child. Like I could, keep going to school outside of high school.
Yeah.
So I went on this trip, and I was so captivated with the city. And I always had sort of this goal that I would have my life centered around downtown Chicago. And now looking back, it was a great experience there. If I'm gonna break it down by the years, my freshman year I commuted, which was honestly so terrible.
Yeah, everyone I know that commutes is like, why did I do that?
Yeah, the one thing I didn't know about UIC, it's a majority of commuters, and it's like 85% commuters, and then 15% live on campus. And yeah, and my family's not that wealthy, so I had to commute. It was like a 45-minute commute every day. It really built some character, though. I had to, work on my time management, and overall.
Did you take the train or you would drive?
I would drive and then take the train.
Oh wow, I bet you saw like a bunch of randomness.
Yeah, it's a crazy thing. So many things happen in Chicago, but yeah, that was my freshman year. It was a tough transition. My grades weren't the best.
Yeah.
But as I sort of progressed, my grades went up. My sophomore year, I told myself I wanted to move out of my parents' home, and that's what I did. That's when I really became involved in my fraternity, Rho Sigma Alpha Mu. So I moved into our house or whatever. It was really just a bunch of brothers that would, get a place and live there.
Yeah.
That was our hub. We'd run all our events there, and eventually we started having parties and a really social era of my life.
Mm-hmm. Was it like neighbors?
Yeah. So I was in Pilsen actually, and we would throw these ragers of like 300, 400 people. And it was always like the Halloween party was the one we would look forward to. At times it was sort of inconvenient though, because due to the fact that it was, our, how can I say it?
Like your party house?
Our party house, yeah. That's a good way to say it. People would just barge in out of nowhere. Like I remember one time specifically, I woke up at like 4 a.m. and there's brothers upstairs, drinking, and I was like, come on, I'm trying to sleep.
Yeah.
That was my sophomore year.
Do you think living there made it hard to like focus on school?
No, not at all. It was sort of far from campus. It was like a 15-minute commute. That's better than an hour than what I was doing before. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was a big era of my life where I sort of took a leap of faith, I remember when I first left my mom's house, because that's who I live with. Mm-hmm. She was so sad about it. Mm. Yeah, no, it sucked. But like that was a point in my life where like I just had to take that risk, and it ended up working out. I've always sort of had the thought process that, I might not have figured out right now, but as I, day by day, I can figure it out.
Yeah, you just have to throw yourself out.
Right, that's a big thing about it. Just throw yourself in the water.
For sure.
And it worked out. Gratefully, I was able to, secure a job, and I still had a social life going on. And that's when I actually started DJing, like my sophomore year. There's a Thursday spot. And here's another thing I really want to talk about in the interview is connections. Yes. At the time, my president of the fraternity was one of the top employees there. And he sort of introduced me to the manager there, and that's how I started playing there.
Where is there?
It's called 10 Doors. Yeah, sorry, I didn't say the name.
No, that's
okay. So it was like a local college spot.
Okay.
Everybody would be there, Greek life, and just a bunch of UIC students. And that's sort of where I started in the city, DJ-wise. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you got to work on your connections.
Yeah, for sure.
You never know when you meet a person what they'll be like years from that date.
Exactly,
yeah. So like,
you never know who they know. Because they say that you're always like 3 people away from meeting someone.
Is it the 3 degrees of separation?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, no, I learned a little bit about that. No, that is true though. Gotta work on your connections. So that was my sophomore year. My junior year, I think it was when COVID hit. Yeah, that sucked. Mm-hmm. But that was a time where I sort of refocused. And the thing about it was that's when I started going to the gym consistently. So it kind of made me take a step back and set up a plan to, get to where I am now.
Yeah.
I think if that didn't
was a good
it was a good experience, even though it sucked. But and, there's always brighter days ahead. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that lockdown kind of put my head forward and really made me focus on the things I wanted to do academic wise, my own life, and just where I wanted to be in the next couple of years. And fast forward to now, I pretty much accomplished everything that I set out. Yeah, and then senior year rolled around. Mm-hmm. At that time, I was one of the leaders of my fraternity. I was a candidate educator. I was involved in my pre-law society class. What else did I do there? And I just started DJing a little bit more, and then eventually I graduated, class of 2022.
Are you the first graduate in your family?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, first generation college student, first generation college graduate.
Wow.
I'm the first man on my dad's side of the family, and I'm pretty much one of the first as well on my mother's side of the family.
Oh, wow. So you definitely had a lot to live up to in a sense.
Oh yeah, 100%. No, it brings a lot of pride to my family.
Of course,
I remember I was close to graduation, and my grandfather was talking about. He was saying like, and he's more of a Spanish speaker. He was like, "Que somos la envidia del rancho." Basically saying that like everybody back home, like where he's from, was gonna hear about that like there's a graduate in the family, and that's sort of like envious of us. But yeah, I'm pretty much the first to do a lot of the things in my life. If we're talking about like my family, so I would consider myself a trailblazer. You can call it that. I'm the first to do a lot of those things.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Was moving out of your mom's house like scary?
Scary? I don't know about scary. Well, of course, my mom and my dad were like, "Oh, you shouldn't do it. Like, you should stay home and save money."
That's because you're an only child. Because my parents are definitely the same. Like, just stay home. Just stay home.
So the thing I've always thought about is that like parents, they want you to avoid, like, how can I say, like they just want to safeguard me from all the bad things that could happen.
Yeah.
But the reality is, I'm a man. Like I need to step out there, and if I don't do it for myself, who is going to do it for me? Nobody.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the mindset I had, is like I had to step out there. I'm a man. I'm gonna do what I gotta do, and then I'm gonna just take it day by day.
Yeah.
I was just raised that way too. My grandfather, he's a very strict, like hard inside.
Because you're Mexican, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's probably very traditional.
Yeah, very traditional guy. He's sort of implemented like that type of mindset into me. Like, you got to be hard. So like a funny thing I stuck with me. My grandfather always says like, "Te tienes que amarrar los huevos." Yeah. So I know it's a pretty common thing, but if you translate that to English, it's like, I got to wrap my balls up.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I did. And now I just translate that to a lot of things whenever I encounter like a difficulty or any hardship, really. Me tengo que amarrar los huevos. I just gotta like lock in and go and do that. It doesn't matter like what I have to do. It's like I need to get it done. Yeah. So that's kind of how I approach things.
So you were always kind of interested in becoming a DJ. So what made you choose to also pursue a degree?
Yeah. So like I spoke earlier about how I was always academically focused. My parents always told me that I had sort of a route to be that one that would change the family tree, and in terms of education, being the most educated within the family. So obviously I was young, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just go to university. I remember crossing the 8th grade, or I think it was 8th grade or something like that. I was crossing my graduation stage, and I remember my uncle screaming out, like, 4 more years, or 8 more years. I think it was 8. Yeah, it's probably 8 years, because if it's 8th grade, I still have to do high school. Yeah, he was like, 8 more years. And that's one of those moments that has always stuck out to me. And eventually, I didn't recognize the importance of what I was doing while I was in college, and it didn't really hit me until it was like my junior or senior year, when I was close to graduation, of the great opportunity I had, and it wouldn't have been possible without the sacrifices that my family made prior to me. Like they all have like 3rd grade education. My mother didn't finish high school. My closest aunt never stepped foot in the middle school. So it was sort of a pride to just be there in general. And either way it would have turned out, I knew I was going to be successful with whatever I did. And I still want to pursue more school. I am currently in pursuit of something else. I'm not exactly going to specify what that is, but basically I'm just going to say like 4 more years or 5 more years, something like that. Kind of going back to what my uncle said.
We spoke about that a little bit on the phone the other day, and I think that's a very exciting path for you to take, and I can see you being very successful.
Yeah, I mean, my 8th grade college fair, that was the profession that I chose. And I've always had this urge inside of me to excel and be great, and just really just go above and beyond. And I feel like doing that would really help me accomplish that.
For sure. So we delve into who Rene is. So now we're going to dive a little deeper into who DJ Midnight is. So tell me about what your startup experience was like, because you mentioned that you bought your own equipment, which I doubt was cheap, and you started in your garage.
Right.
So just tell me what made you take that leap and how that was for you.
Yeah, it just started out with the passion for music. Like I said earlier, I didn't really have a vision of like what I really wanted to do with it. But I I've always believed that, as you progress, you sort of develop new goals. And it's not exactly a goal you might have in the beginning, but like there's certain habits you need to do in order to reach whatever end goal you have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it didn't really start to, take off until I got out of college. I don't know if you know this, but you have to be 21 to be in the nightclubs.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, so I was just so hungry. Like I was like, I want to get in there already. I want to get in there.
Yeah.
And like when I turned 21, I was ready. Like I set up a plan. Like I started visualizing about like what I wanted to do, where I wanted to play, and what it would feel like to actually do those, and reach those desires. So yeah, I mean, I started visualizing about all of that, and uh, if we look back, I've pretty much accomplished every single thing that I've laid out for it. But yeah, no, it was kind of tough at first. I didn't really have that many connections. But that's where the visualizing came into play. Like I would think about like, okay, I can do this and I could do that, but what difference would it make if I didn't have action? So that's where you gotta, put that into place. Action is the biggest thing. You could wish so hard for something, but if you're not, putting action behind it, nothing's gonna happen for you. Yeah. So that kind of just happened, and that after my graduation, obviously I had a lot of opportunities. Like I could get a job or I could pursue more education, but I really wanted to take the DJ thing to the next level, and I never believed in a 9 to 5 job. I've always sort of made my own path. It's going to the contrary of what my family has always believed in. They believe in working for somebody else, 40-hour week, and I just saw that as a child, and I was like, yeah, that's not going to be me. And
Yeah.
thankfully to this point, it's worked out. But yeah, I wanted to be my own boss. So when I turned 21, I started hitting the nightclubs. I started making those connections and pretty much doing whatever I had to do. I started really focusing on like my craft and like really determining like why I wanted to do this. And that's what really helped me excel quickly. It's like I had my heart in it. Like I was doing it because I had a certain passion behind it. I like, this is what I love to do, and I don't see myself doing anything else right now. Yeah. So when it came to that, and eventually I got into the nightclubs and I met people and I started getting put on to more spots and crushing it, and then like I landed, other spots to play at, and I started making like a real income off of it. It was great. It was great. One thing that sort of I think about now is that I'm 23, and like the average DJ in the nightclub, if you go, is like probably some older dude, like 30ish or something like that. And at the time I was 21, and they saw me and they're like, what is this little kid doing here? So I didn't really know what to do about that. I just kind of kept going.
I feel like DJing is almost like basketball in that way. Like once you're past a certain age, it's like, okay, grandpa, pack it up.
Yeah. I don't really see myself doing it into the old age, but right now that I'm young, I don't exactly get the same amount of respect I probably deserve, because I would say I'm way ahead of the game. I'm 23. The average DJ is probably like 29, and I'm already, in the same spot as them.
You made a name for yourself.
I've made a name for myself. I made a living off of it. I played the same spots they played. That's not an egotistical thing at all either, though. Like, the difference is that I was ready. And there's this conversation I had with a DJ friend back then. It's like, you can have 3 hours or you can have 30 minutes. And the person with 30 minutes could get more accomplished in those 30 minutes because they're locked in. That's basically what it was for me. I was so locked in. I was so set on accomplishing these desires that, there was very, very little room for failure. Yeah.
Do you think being in a fraternity, so you said that your fraternity brother helped you connect with the tenders, which is where bartenders where you first played at. Do you think that being in a fraternity also furthered and helped your connections? Because I would assume once you played, did you have a residency at bartenders?
Yeah, I was there like every Thursday.
So was that like, do you think that was a good segue and opening to meet new people and get the connections to play at other places?
Yeah, the biggest factor that I gained from the fraternity was learning how to be social and personable with others. And yeah, I mean, that was sort of my like foundation into like the DJ world, and it kind of grew into that, and that's how I met more people. My friend Maximo Quinones, who's a great DJ, he's probably like the best DJ I know. He's probably the king of River North. No, he's great. Yeah. So he was the previous resident, and then when he turned 21, he graduated to the nightclubs or whatever you would call it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
but
then you came after him?
basically, yeah.
Oh,
And then that's when I established a connection with him.
Yeah.
And then eventually I turned 21 and I came into the spots he was playing at. And through that, because of my steadfast, process of moving forward and continuing to, excel with my DJing and just all that together, I was able to meet more people, meet more promoters, meet booking agents, and that's how I basically got put on. I just went out there and I just did it day by day. Yeah. I just met new people, made connections.
Yeah. So your first residency was at the Bartenders. Do you currently hold any residencies?
Technically, through my talent agency, I am a resident at Joy District, Hubbard Inn, and then my Thursday spot is Hawkeyes.
Oh, yeah.
But there are a lot of other venues I frequent at that I really enjoy playing at. And I mean, any opportunity to go play out is a great opportunity. Like last night, I was at Electric Hotel, and it was just so much fun. It's just like a really good release, and like this is the way I approach it. Like I was having not the best week, right? But then I go out there and I crush it, and I just feel like this real connection with the crowd. And
like you're high off the energy.
I'm so high off the energy. Yeah. Like you would call it like a catharsis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically like your release of repressed emotions, and like it's super great feeling to have that connection with the crowd and just going out there and just crushing it. Yeah. That's like one of the best highs I can have. Like there's really only a couple of things that give me that sort of high. Is the gym, traveling, and DJing. But specifically when I'm crushing and the crowd is really into it.
Yeah. Are there any places currently that are on your wish list of where you would like to have residency?
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Fortunately, I've knocked off pretty much every venue that I wanted to when I first started in the nightclubs. There's only two now that are like left on there. It's Tao and Prism on the main floor. Yeah, those two spots, I feel like once I do them, it'd just be really great. But
for sure.
I don't know. Sometimes I have a hard time really, like sitting there and enjoying how can I say, like the fact that I made it to that goal or whatever. Because I'm always thinking about like what I could be doing.
Like what's next?
What's next? And that's the thing in the industry, like what's next? Like what can I do better, or how can I do this, or I could do that. But that's something I struggle with. But something I really need to work on is, sitting there really enjoying the moment and enjoying my success.
Yeah. Would you say that you are confident in yourself as a DJ? Like, because you want to play at Tao. Tao's a pretty big, like DJ Pauly D be there. Like, would you say that you I swear, would you say that you have the self-confidence that, like, to believe in yourself that I'm capable of playing here, or do you think you maybe want a little bit more experience before you approach them?
That's a really great question. If I'm gonna talk about, do I feel ready? Yes, but it's not exactly up to me. It's up to the promoters and the booking agents. I do still feel like I still need to grow my brand a bit, but inside I do feel ready, and that's the thing I think that really separates me from a lot of people, is that it's never a matter of if, it's just a matter of when something's gonna happen. And like I always show up to win. Wanting to win and willing to win are two different things. If you want to win, you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna do this by that time, and you're not really like specific about things. But like willing to win is like you're gonna go there, you're gonna take care of business, and like that's it.
And it all comes back down to that dedication and like actually having discipline with yourself to focus on everything.
Yeah, you just need to think about like what you really are rooted in. And I know that I'm rooted in the passion that I love. I love music, I love DJing. And just in general, that I just want to be better,
For sure.
And yeah, it's just, are you willing to win? Like you need to show up willing to win and just overall being an ambitious person. Yeah.
So I assume that your schedule is very, very busy. How do you manage just juggling all the different realms of your life?
Yeah, so just a bunch of the skills I've learned throughout my life: time management, dedication, discipline. I am very busy. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm currently studying for my future.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get too specific about that, but yeah, like my daily task is, I wake up, I shower, I study for a bit, then I go to the gym, and that's like during the week. But then when the weekend rolls around, I'm DJing like sometimes up to 5 times a day, or 5 gigs, you would say. But yeah, no, I am pretty jam packed. at times it does become a little difficult to balance everything. Yeah. So I kind of just do things that give me a release, and that's where the DJing and the gym comes into play. Yeah, just keep my stress levels low too.
Yeah. Is there anything that you wish you had more time or that you want to put more time towards?
Yeah, spending time with my family for sure. Now that I live in the city, it's not as easy to just come by and just hang out with them.
Yeah.
But I do try to come by like every other week or every 2 weeks. I do wish I had a lot more time for them, but they understand, like I'm doing these things and I don't exactly have that time for them
It's a busy
anymore.
life, yeah.
Yeah. The whole DJ life and just everything else I have going on in general is at times it is hard to balance, but you really just have to remind yourself like what you're working towards and the sacrifice that is required, and that's sort of how I've always approached it.
Do you ever feel like you're like living a double life, like on your Hannah Montana shit?
Hannah Montana, I did love that show.
Yeah.
That's funny, Disney Channel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, all the time. Like during the week, I'll be on my my early sleep and my study vibes, and then like hitting the gym, and it's like very rigid schedule I have for myself. And on the weekend, I'm not getting much sleep, and then like it's all over the place, and I just whatever the job demands is basically what the weekend is like.
How do you prep for a gig?
I wouldn't say exactly prep. I now that I have like my USB, I kind of just plug it in and go. I do everything on the fly. What I like to do is I'll think about like what the gig could turn out like, or like who's gonna be there, or like what type of person is gonna come and have fun at the venue or whatever.
Like what's the audience, the demographic?
Yeah, what's the demographic there? One club could be totally different from another club, or for example, they could request this type of music one night, and then the other night will be totally different. It's a evolving industry for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I kind of now I don't exactly prep. I just sort of add music as I go.
Yeah. Do you like that it's a very on the fly type of job, or would you prefer a little bit more stability?
I like it. Yeah, it's on the fly. I enjoy it that way. That's sort of who I am as a person as well. I just like to pick up and go.
Yeah.
That's sort of what the industry is like. It's very fast paced. You got to be able to move quick, and you got to be able to do this, and you got to be able to do that, and just juggle it all around.
For sure.
Overall, I would say I'm doing pretty well with it.
Yeah. So when we spoke the other day, you told me that you don't drink and you don't do drugs, and the club scene heavily relies on both of those things. So how do you manage that?
There isn't really much to manage about it. I was never raised to be drinking alcohol or just engaging in drug use, and that's just not who I am as an adult now.
Like you just never really had an interest?
I never really feel the urge to, I'm gonna sit down and have a drink or a beer or whatever.
Yeah.
That's just not who I am. I like to be healthy. Health is wealth, and if I'm gonna continue to perform at the highest level I can, not only in my DJ life but just in general who I am as a person and moving towards whatever goals I may have. Like I need to be locked in. I need to be on point. Yeah. So yeah, that's why I don't really ever drink, and I only ever do it special occasions now. For a while I did, because it's free. Like why not? Yeah. But the thing about things that are always available, and it's not just drugs or alcohol, but if you're around it, you're more likely to take it. But going back to that is, when things are always available to you, you're not going to treat it the same value.
Exactly.
Yeah. So like that's why I see alcohol. I'm just like whatever. It's just not who I am, and it's just not healthy in general. I mean, the reason you feel drunk or intoxicated when you take drugs is because it's a toxin for your body, and your body's not supposed to be that way. I want to take care of myself. I very much believe in eating clean and just having a healthy lifestyle in general, and I know overall it's going to make me a better person, and it has to this point.
Shit, that makes me want to go sober. What the fuck? Did you ever feel somewhat pressured in a way when you were coming up as a DJ to drink and do drugs?
Somewhat, yeah, to build like a camaraderie thing.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but I kind of quickly got rid of that because I realized that a lot of those people that I may have encountered in the nightclub or or work in general is like they're not gonna matter in like a couple years. I don't know if you realize that, but some people are just in your life for seasons.
Yeah.
And my thought process behind it was that these people are not significant. They don't exactly align with who I am outside of the nightclub. So I kind of just dropped that, attitude with, oh, I need to drink to, or I need to be peer pressured.
Yeah.
I'm just not gonna let that change who I am. I've always stayed true to myself, and for a time I did take it because I mean, what's wrong with experiencing? Yeah, like what's wrong with trying?
We're young.
Yeah. So I did for some time, and I quickly grew out of it. If it's a negative behavior, I'm gonna drop it.
I like it. So your parents and family seem to be very traditional in, Mexicans are just very traditional normally. So how did they react when you told them that DJing is something you were committed to pursuing and taking seriously?
It's funny because when I first told my dad about it, he wasn't very fond of the idea.
Yeah.
He kind of expected me, to go into the workforce or pursue even more school. I told him like, this is something I really want to do, and whether or not I have your support, I'm gonna do it. And it was something that he recognized that I had a passion for. So eventually, he got behind it. On the other hand, my mom always been supportive of anything I do. But if we're talking about my entire family, they're just like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, it's probably such a foreign concept to them.
Yeah, right? like I said earlier, like I'm a trailblazer. These are things that nobody else in my family is doing, and I'm the first to really show them that, like, this is actually achievable and attainable. And it's funny because the whole DJ thing is not like a job. It's not like something you would actually see on a resume or like send an application in for. Yeah, but I mean, I am making an income out of it, and that's, at the end of the day, that's what people seem to really care about. Like, are you making money? It's really not all about the money for me. I mean, yeah, I am making enough to support myself, and that's really all I can ask for.
Yeah, it's something you're passionate about, but like you're getting paid for it. So who?
Yeah, no, it's so much fun. At times, I'll just show up, and it's literally not even a job.
Yeah,
I show up, and I literally do what I love to do.
Yeah. Now that you've established a name for yourself and a brand for yourself, how do you go about differentiating genuine interest and care versus the people that are just in it for the benefits that come with being who you are?
Yeah, it kind of just comes down to my gut feeling at times.
Yeah.
Like, do I really feel like this person is trying to be genuine with me or not? It is difficult, especially like when I'm talking to people that I have like romantic interests in. But overall, yeah, I have gotten better with it. I was sort of naive to the way people could be towards you when I was a little younger, but now I understand, and I approach it now thinking about, like, are they watering my grass, and are they taking too much out of me, and it's not like an equal exchange.
Like, if it's not reciprocated.
It's not reciprocated, then not, for some time, I get it, like, it might be a little unbalanced or whatever, but if it's not going to work out, then I just kind of move forward and do my own thing. I just move on to find something better.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we're talking about people that want the benefits, it happens all the time to me. They want to get in the booth, or like they want to like be on my guest list, or like they want X, Y, and Z, and just like, it's just not really me to be all that friendly to people in general. I have close-knit circle, and it kind of takes a lot for me to let you in. But I understand that there are different types of relationships out there, acquaintances, real friendships, and then like partners and stuff like that. Yeah, but I do encounter a lot of people that are sort of just like able to dismiss in general. Yeah.
So how do you go about finding the future Miss Midnight?
It's funny because I get that question a lot.
Yeah.
People always ask, you're a handsome dude, you got all this going for you. It's like, when are you gonna bring like a girl home? I think about it myself all the time too. I can't say that I'm looking for a relationship, but I'm also not looking for a relationship. If that's
You heard that, ladies. Send in your resumes.
If I said that correctly, is like, I'm not exactly focused on it, but if it were to come, yeah, I'm fine with that. It's somebody that's gonna add value to my life and just make the quality of my days even better, then why not?
They say it always comes when you're not looking or expecting for it.
Right, yeah, and I'm never expecting it. I'm never looking for it. I'm just so focused on like what I'm gonna do to be the best man I can be, and then eventually she's just gonna come and complement to my life. I'm always focused on like my overall purpose and my vision about what I really want to do in my life, and I'm never worried about if somebody's gonna be there with me. Like I've been an only child my entire life. I never really had anybody there like by my side. I don't need anybody there. It just goes into like am I focused on what my real purpose is? And I know somewhere down the line someone will come, and when they do, it's gonna complement my life, and I'm ready for that whenever it happens. I believe everything happens for a reason, and when that aligns, I'm ready for it.
That's cute. Okay, so let's dive a little deeper into your dating history. Tell me some experiences, good or maybe not so good, that you've had so far.
I think what really shapes a person is experience, for sure. A lot of the way we approach things is based off our previous experiences, or maybe like a friend tells you, oh, I did this or I did that. And I find myself asking friends all the time, the ones I confide in, about like, oh, how should I maneuver this or maneuver that? But if we're talking about romantic relationships, thankfully I don't have much difficulty with it. They kind of just come up to me, and it's just like, as I got older, obviously my checklist or requirement has evolved.
Yeah.
I look for pretty specific things now, and I can't really say I've encountered someone that's been worth keeping around. If in my head I'm thinking about it, like there's really only one person I can think of where like, oh yeah, she really hit everything, and that just didn't work out. I'm really looking for somebody who is self-driven, independent. Like she doesn't need me to do everything for her.
So what is some general advice that you would give to people looking to pursue DJing?
Yeah, so first thing is really believing in yourself. It's the first component to literally anything you're gonna do. Doesn't matter what it is. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. And you really just have to push yourself, even in times where you're like, like it doesn't really feel realistic, or learn. Just go out there and it's okay to fail. It's okay to like falter on whatever plan. It's just like take a step back, reanalyze and go for it again. Another thing that really pops into my head is like, don't be afraid to mold your own path. When it comes to that, is like, people are going to tell you one thing and another person might tell you another. Is like, what really is going to set you apart in accomplishing whatever goal you have, and DJing or anything in general is do you believe in yourself, and are you willing to take that like leap of faith? Sort of when you transfer it to my life is like, yeah, I'm not exactly knowledgeable with everything. I would say I'm a pretty smart person, but what really sets me apart is like, I'm willing to put in the work.
To learn.
I'm willing to learn. I have that drive inside of me where I have the belief in myself. Is like, I'm okay with the uncertainty. It doesn't really bother me. But yeah, it comes down to do you believe in yourself, and are you trusting yourself enough to move towards the direction that you're pursuing.
All right, thank you guys for tuning in and watching along as we delve a little deeper into who Rene is as a person, and thank you for coming out here and spending the time with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Is there anything you would like to plug before we go?
Yeah, so you can find me on all my socials at DJ Midnight Chicago. Booking inquiries, 222talent@gmail.com. Really, I just want to thank you for having me on the podcast. It was a lot of fun. I feel like this will uncover something that people don't actually see of me, and a whole nother side of Rene, not only just DJ Midnight. But yeah, thanks again for having me, and if we don't know each other, you know where to find me, all over River North. And yeah, hopefully we see each other somewhere down the line.
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share with a few of your besties, and we'll see you next time on Diving Deep with Des.